18 warships, 2 destroyers, 400 Marines, 1 ultimatum. The Chinese admiral expected one thing when he issued that order: compliance, withdrawal, Americans backing down in front of the entire Pacific. What he got instead would define the next 29 minutes of his career and end it. But to understand what happened in those 29 minutes, you have to understand what led to them, because this standoff didn't begin that morning. It began years earlier with sand, concrete, and a very deliberate strategy. The South China Sea covers 3.5 million square kilometers. It connects the Pacific to the Indian Ocean. Roughly a third of all global maritime trade passes through it every single year. Trillions of dollars in cargo, oil tankers, container ships, military vessels from a dozen nations. Whoever controls those waters controls one of the most important economic choke points on the planet. China understood this earlier than most. Starting in the early 2010s, Beijing began a construction program that had no real precedent in modern history. Reefs barely above water at high tide were dredged, reinforced, and built up into artificial islands. Not fishing outposts, not weather stations, military installations, runways long enough for fighter jets, hangars, radar arrays, anti-ship missile batteries, port facilities capable of servicing naval vessels. China wasn't building islands, it was building unsinkable aircraft carriers and positioning them across the most contested stretch of water in Asia. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, all of them have overlapping claims in those waters. All of them watched the construction happen. All of them filed diplomatic protests. None of it changed anything. The International Tribunal at The Hague ruled in 2016 that China's sweeping territorial claims had no basis in international law. Beijing rejected the ruling the same day it was issued, called it a piece of paper, kept building. By the time this standoff happened, China had spent a decade turning the South China Sea into what its naval planners called a strategic buffer zone, what everyone else called an illegal occupation. The Philippine fishing fleet had been working those waters for generations. The same reefs, the same fishing grounds, the same routes their fathers and grandfathers had worked. Chinese Coast Guard vessels had been harassing them for years. Water cannons, laser dazzlers aimed at crew members, physical blocking maneuvers, a systematic campaign to make Philippine fishermen feel unwelcome in waters their country legally had every right to use. That morning, 3 Philippine fishing vessels were operating near Scarborough Shoal when the Chinese naval formation appeared. Not Coast Guard this time, warships, 18 of them, a blockade drawn tight and deliberate. The Philippines immediately notified the United States. The mutual defense treaty between the two countries is not ambiguous. An armed attack on Philippine vessels in the Pacific triggers American obligations. 2 American destroyers were already in the region. They moved. 10:45 in the morning. The Chinese admiral issued his ultimatum over international maritime channels. 30 minutes, withdraw or face consequences. He had done the math. 18 ships against 2. A full naval battle group against a pair of destroyers carrying a combined complement of 400 Marines. The numbers were overwhelming. The psychology was supposed to be simple. No commander risks his crew against those odds. Captain Rivera didn't consult anyone, didn't request clarification from command, didn't calculate survival probabilities. Chinese forces, your blockade is illegal. Your territorial claims have no legal basis. Your ultimatum carries no authority. We are not leaving. The words hit the international channel like a door slamming shut. Every ship in the area heard it. Every navy monitoring the situation heard it. Beijing heard it. On the Chinese flagship, the admiral ordered his formation tighter. 3 kilometers became 2, 2 became 1, close enough to make the message physical, close enough for Chinese gun crews to watch American sailors standing at their stations, close enough to smell the exhaust from the destroyer's engines. Rivera's crews held position, weapons locked, formation unchanged. The 3 Philippine vessels stayed tucked behind the American destroyers, protected, exactly where they had been before the ultimatum was issued. The admiral recalculated. The Americans weren't moving. More pressure required. At 10:52, the sky above the standoff changed. The USS Ronald Reagan had been running intercept calculations since the first Chinese ultimatum was broadcast. The carrier hadn't waited for orders to prepare. The strike package was already on deck, armed, crews in their seats. 24 F-18 Super Hornets launched and climbed hard, armed with Harpoon anti-ship missiles, JSAW glide bombs, and full air-to-air loadouts. Flight time to the standoff zone, 18 minutes. Simultaneously, the Philippines Air Force responded. 12 F-16 fighters reached the operational area and established a combat air patrol directly overhead the 2 destroyers, armed, waiting. The F-16 flight lead came over the channel, flat, professional. American destroyers, Philippines Air Force overhead, 12 aircraft, armed and ready. China touches you, we engage together. Rivera acknowledged without hesitation. Philippines Air Force, we have you, stand by, situation developing. The Chinese admiral watched his radar picture transform. What had been a straightforward numerical advantage was becoming a multi-domain problem. Air cover over the destroyers, strike aircraft inbound from a carrier group he couldn't directly engage without triggering a war that extended far beyond this patch of water. Asian allies converging from multiple directions simultaneously. He issued a second ultimatum anyway. American destroyers, Philippines aircraft, 10 minutes remaining. Final warning. We surround you. We outnumber you. We will sink your ships. Leave now. Rivera's response came back without a pause. Chinese forces, your blockade is illegal. Your territorial claims have no legal basis. Your numbers don't change what's right and what isn't. 10 minutes or 10 hours, we are staying. Philippines is our ally. We defend allies, always. The admiral stared at his tactical display. The Americans weren't calculating the same equation he was, or they were calculating it and reaching a different answer. Either way, the ultimatum had failed twice. Defiance in front of international channels, defiance in front of his entire battle group. He made his decision. Warning shots, deck guns, target the water near the lead American destroyer. 500 meters, close enough to make them understand, not close enough to give them legal justification. The legal calculation was wrong. 6 Chinese ships fired. Shells impacted 500 meters off the bow of the lead destroyer. International waters, shots fired at American vessels. Every rule of engagement Rivera operated under had just been satisfied. His voice came over the net immediately. Chinese forces have fired on us. All defensive systems active. Weapons tight. Hold for my order. 400 Marines at their stations. Missile locks confirmed. CIWS systems online and tracking. Every crew member waiting for the same 2 words. The admiral made the error that sealed the outcome. He thought warning shots had created a new dynamic. He thought the Americans would now calculate differently. He thought the next move was to disable the destroyers, force them dead in the water, then demand surrender with 18 warships surrounding 2 immobilized hulls. Disable them, target propulsion, target communications, non-lethal strikes, make them stop. 6 Chinese destroyers launched anti-ship missiles, 12 inbound, 2 American ships targeted. The failing CIWS systems on both destroyers opened up before the missiles reached midpoint. 20mm rotary cannons at 4,500 rounds per minute, radar-controlled, tracking every inbound contact simultaneously. 10 of 12 Chinese missiles destroyed in flight. 2 penetrated. Superstructure damage on the lead destroyer. Communications array hit. Minor flooding in one compartment. 0 casualties. Both ships fully operational. China had fired first. The rules of engagement were satisfied in every dimension. Rivera gave the order. All weapons free. Engage. Protect the Philippines. Fire. 16 Harpoon anti-ship missiles off the rails, 8 from each destroyer, targeting acquired, flight paths calculated. The closest Chinese warships had between 12 and 20 seconds. At the exact same time, the 12 Philippine F-16s